Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. I've got kind of a follow-up video for you guys today. A couple of weeks ago I posted a video review of this Henry pump action Octagon, this one being chambered in .22 long rifle. And in that video I said that I was going to be changing over to the Skinner sights. And I told you guys I'd give you an update once I got those installed and zeroed, and well, I'm there. So I thought I'd give you guys a little update and show you the sights installed and kind of talk about them a little bit, maybe do a little bit of shooting. So when I bought this rifle, I already knew that I didn't like these semi-buckhorn style sights that are on it. I just don't shoot them that well. There's nothing technically wrong with them, and some people love these sights. I just don't shoot them that well. Get that camera to focus on them there. That's the rear sight. You can see above that diamond there's a really fine groove there. And I just have trouble seeing them. The factory front sight is just a brass bead on these rifles. So I knew when I bought this rifle that I was going to replace those. And I ordered those Skinner sights the minute I got home with the rifle. But I wanted to show the rifle in complete stock form on the first review so that people interested in one of these rifles can see what they're getting from the factory. So now that that's behind me, I wanted to go ahead and get these Skinners on because these are what I like to shoot. I've got one of these H00, not one of these, this is H003T, but I've got one of the H001s, the lever actions, and I've got the Skinner sights on it. So I already knew I liked them. But on it, I've got the drill and tap rear sight. I wanted to try something different with this one. And with these Octagon barrels, you get the option of getting the Octagon barrel screw mount sight. Just mounts with these two screws under your rear buckhorn sight on most of these Octagon barrels. You don't even notice it, but under that sight, there's two pre-drilled, pre-tapped holes, so there's no drilling and tapping or anything like that. Alright, so this is the rear Skinner sight that I put on the rifle. You can see this rifle is clear, the action is open. The two mounting screws you can see here. That brass, they call it gold, but that brass matches the inlay that Henry puts on this rifle from the factory. I think that looks pretty good. This is available in a few different options, blued steel, black gold, black silver, and this one is called the gold. The black gold is just the inverse of this. The actual sight will be brass and the base will be black. But they do offer several different options there. You can get what suits you. Little set screw here you can loosen to drift this portion left or right to set your windage. You can see I've got it drifted just ever so slightly to the right. Your elevation is done by threading out the actual peep. When you thread it out like that, you're raising your point of impact, and when you thread it in, you're lowering your point of impact. I got it out of the box and mounted it. Now it comes with this screw-in peep. This has an 1/8 inch aperture, and you can get different sizes. You can get a finer aperture if you want to do more precision work, or you can get a more open aperture for speed. You can see you can just use the bare ghost ring if you want. But I got this out of the box and mounted it. I turned the peep down as far as I could with my 1/8 inch aperture installed, and then I backed it up one whole turn. So that way, if I filed my front sight down too far, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, that would give me a little bit of wiggle room. But with the aperture in the lowest position, the center of the aperture is 420 thousandths of an inch from the top of the Octagon barrel. very nice looking, high quality USA made stuff right here. So we'll take a look at the front sight. I bought the front sight 600 thousandths of an inch tall from the base of the sight to the top of the sight. When I installed the sight, that put me at 535 thousandths of an inch tall from the top of the Octagon barrel to the top of the sight. That's the measurement that's important to me because that's what I'll be measuring when I'm doing my removal of the sight. So we shot a group with it. Actually, my wife shot a group with it. And at 25 yards, with the sight untouched, we were 8 inches low. So that was our starting point. We started at 8 inches low. So we would shoot a group. I would remove a little bit more off the sight. We would shoot a group. I'd file a little bit more off the sight. It was a long process, but we did it very gradually so that I didn't take too much off. And this is what we ended up with. This is my final measurements on this front sight. Some of you guys wanted to know. From the base to the top is now 440 thousandths of an inch. From the top of the Octagon barrel to the top of the sight is 375 thousandths of an inch. So we removed 160 thousandths of an inch from that brand new 600 thousandths tall sight. So I hope that helps. Remember, that's with the rear sight up 360 degrees or one full turn from bottoming out. It gave us a 25-yard zero, and also should be noted that was using CCI, standard velocity ammunition. Of course, different ammunition is going to give you a different point of impact. That's another reason I wanted to leave a little bit of room for adjustment back here on this rear sight. Someone might ask, why not just crank the elevation up on that rear sight and not worry so much about filing the front sight? Well, you could do that. It might not give you all the elevation you need, being that we were 8 inches low at 25 yards, but it would save you from filing a whole lot off the front sight. But I want to save that up adjustment in my elevation for when I'm out shooting. I like to shoot slow ammunition, subsonics, CCI quiets and stuff like that a lot. And they fall off real quick after about 50 yards. They start dropping quick. I like to have that up adjustment here. I don't want to have my rear sight maxed out before I even start shooting. I've got it loaded up with CCI quiets, and I found with the quiets they drop off pretty quick. So I like to turn the aperture up one full turn to bring that point of impact up out here at 50 yards. Now, there is a little Allen screw here. If you get your elevation set to where you want it and you want it locked in, you can tighten that set screw, and that way your elevation won't go anywhere. As far as installing these, sometimes it is required to file a little bit off the sight using a triangle file. I didn't have to this time. I drove it in using a Delrin punch and didn't have any problems. It's a really tight fit, but that's what I wanted. Of course, the back just screwed on. But there's those sights, absolutely gorgeous sights that really fit this rifle well, that fit the look of it. I also bought this plug to plug that 3/8 inch dovetail from the factory sight. Kind of left a big ugly groove there. So you can get that plug from Skinner as well to plug that off. And with this sight, some people had questions of it being forward the receiver cover. You still gain some sight radius using this sight. If the factory sight were mounted, it would mount right there. So you still gain about 1 inch of sight radius. Sight radius is just the distance between your front and rear sight by using this sight. so you're not losing any sight radius because it's mounted in front of the receiver. The thing I like about it being mounted in front of the receiver is it's mounted low. The sight on my lever action that I chose was the drill and tap version that drilled and tapped into this receiver cover, and it sets a little higher than this one. I like it low to the bore axis. Back to this front sight, it measures 450 thousandths of an inch from the bottom to the top. Remember, my brass sight measures 440 thousandths of an inch, so this factory sight would have worked. It was tall enough to work, but I wanted the flat top of that brass sight rather than the round bead. Now I know that not everyone will agree with me on this, but I find a good set of Peeps just so much more natural to shoot. I can shoot them faster and shoot them better than I can the semi-buckhorn style of sight. One other thing I wanted to note is I chose the 3/8 inch wide sight. They offer it in 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch, but I thought the 3/8 would look good. I'm talking about the base width here, would look good on the lines of this Octagon barrel. Most people would choose the 1/2 inch, I believe. The 1/2 inch is what the factory sight is. You can see it is wider across the base than the sight that I chose. Thought I'd mention that. And also, I'd like to mention that the width of the sight blade is 0.065, 65 thousandths of an inch wide, just the blade portion here. Did I mention that never gets old? All right, so Lisa's going to do some shooting. She's going to be shooting from the bench here, and I've got her a target set up here at 25 yards. Now, it is very windy today. I don't know if you can tell just yet, but this wind kicks up pretty strong. It actually blowed our target over a couple of times already. So we were actually going to do some shooting at 50 yards, but because of the wind, we decided to keep it close here at 25 yards. And that's where our zero is anyway, so we'll be demonstrating the zero on this rifle. Lisa was not satisfied with that group. She had shot better groups the day before, so instead of blaming the wind and stopping here, she decided to keep shooting 5-shot groups until she got one she liked. That woman ain't no quitter. All right, let's walk down there and take a look at it. What do you think? You got a good feeling about this one? What? You done better than I could have done.
Yeah.
You probably did. Let's go take a look. I couldn't tell from back there what you done. Let's go ahead.
I could tell it was a good one.
Let's go ahead and stop this downrange camera. Ooh, that is a good one. I can tell from looking at the camera. Drop my microphone. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably a 1/2 inch or better group. In this wind, that's pretty remarkable. Hold this camera and I'll measure it. We'll start at the one, middle of the outside hole to the middle of the other hole. Yeah, that's a 1/2 inch group. 5 shots into a half of an inch at 25 yards, as windy as it is, with iron sights. Good job.
Thanks.
That was some pretty impressive shooting. That last group especially. I was going to shoot a few groups too, but I don't think that I can beat that. I don't think that any of the shooting that I can do will prove that these sights will get the job done any more than what Lisa just proved. So I'm going to leave it at that and kind of bring this video to a close. Love these sights. Can't say enough good things about them. Lisa loves them. Just very good sights. A lot of craftsmanship in these sights, and you can see it. So, set of sights like this they're not going to be cheap, obviously. If you looked at them at all in this video, they're not cheap sights. But the rear sight was $100 with that aperture that came with it. Front sight was $28. And that blanking plate was $8. And on top of that, I paid $11 shipping. Guys, I have no affiliation whatsoever with Skinner Sights. I don't get any kind of break or anything like that. I'm nothing more than a repeat customer to them. They don't know who I am, but I am a repeat customer for a reason. I've been very happy with everything that I've ever purchased from them. But I guess that's really all I've got to say in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out at the range with me. I appreciate everybody that subscribed to this channel. It's unbelievable how big this channel has gotten. Just blows my mind. A special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You guys make these videos possible, and I really appreciate it because I enjoy doing them. But that's all I've got, and I'll talk with y'all again soon.